Hello, welcome to another Professor Tomato video. Sometimes when a football player has been at a team for a long time, 8 years, they have a testimonial. And in that testimonial, they will invite other players who they've played against or with, like teammates or previous rivals or good friends behind the scenes. And they'll come down and they'll play a game and they'll raise money, possibly for a charity. I think in the old days they used to pocket it, but yeah. And it's all in good spirits. And you quite often find players having to wear the kits of their rivals to play in these games, which is you know, it's all in good spirits. In a completely unrelated note, this is Professor Tomato, and I am trying to get up to speed on this car. I've had it a long time. So you've watched, hopefully, the last video I did, which was the recap on where things are at the moment, and now I'm going to try and take the back axle off to fix that rust that we found underneath. So that shouldn't actually be that hard. It's annoying in a way because the new exhaust's got to come off, but that's only dry fitted. There's a bit more welding to do as well. I hadn't actually finished the welding. I'm getting deja vu with it because I've got another BX here, another red one, which has rust in all the same places. So I'm like, yeah. In fact, I know I own one myself, which is red, that has rust in all the same places. Not the Mark 1. A 16 valve, which has rust in all the same place. Anyway, so yeah, the plan will be to remove this bumper. Now they aren't normally this easy to do. It's just not bolted on because I've been working on it. So it just comes off like that. You see, it's good. So underneath here we have the new exhaust, some partially finished welding. And this has all got to come off because the problem I have, as you may have seen, and the way I'm filming this now, I can use a light, there we go. You probably, hopefully you've seen it in the other video, above there, so in front of that little rubber boss is a hole in the chassis. In fact, I can see it from here. Can you see it? Look, pig. So yeah, that is that's there, and that's the problem. So the back axle's got to come off to facilitate a repair to that, which is frustrating. I already had the fuel tank out and put it back in, so that's doubly frustrating. But you don't actually have to remove the fuel tank to take the back axle out, because the bits I want to get to are above here, and I will get up in here. Now they look pretty good round there, to be fair, but I will give it a clean up and an extra solid wax oil or under seal or whatever up there, because yeah, we hadn't actually finished that bit anyway. But I can give it a good clean, because that's where they frequently fail. But they always fail on these rails, and it's always the left hand side first. So unfortunately, to do that I have to remove the entire rear axle, which is actually not as bad as it looks. I mean, it's not going to be fun, but it isn't as bad as it looks, because it has a number of pipes which come around the side. They're a pig to get to, they're up there, and they have to be disconnected from, oh god, tripod. They have to be disconnected from the various appendages that they attach to. But once you've disconnected that, the height corrector rod, or height control rod, removed the exhaust, disconnected all the other little hose connections and things, fuel pump again. Well, actually no, I can leave the fuel pump dangling. I don't actually have to take it off. But yeah, once you've done all that, in theory 4 bolts and the whole thing drops down. That is the plan. So I'm now going to remove the exhaust. I'm not going to film all that because it's pretty boring. I'm going to remove the exhaust and some other bits and bobs, and you can catch me on the other side when I'm closer to taking it off. One of the things I need to do is, when I put the car on the ramp, I put the suspension on high, and of course when you put the car on low, all the fluid that's in the suspension, in the cylinders here and here, is squeezed back to the tank. But because it was on high, they're full of fluid. the easiest thing to do is to lower the car down on the ramp and put it on low, and then that will squeeze the fluid back out of the cylinders back to the reservoir, meaning when I undo all these pipes I don't get 2 cylinders full of fluid all over the floor. You can tell when the cylinders have fluid in because it's difficult to push them up. Oh. But when you empty them, they're just all floppy. Tomato now, Professor Tomato. The wheels have been removed. The fuel pump is connected to the subframe, so it sits on the subframe. But what I intend to do, because the pipe goes over the top of the subframe, I'm hoping that this will just sit still, that this will stay there when the subframe drops. So now that I've removed the wheels and removed the spare wheel cradle and removed the exhaust, basically, my next job is to disconnect a lot of pipes. Now, I don't have to disconnect every single pipe because some of the pipes are self-contained on the subframe. Some of them go from the cylinders to the height corrector, for example. But I will need to disconnect the majority of them. It's the ones that come in on the top here. These are the 4 pipes that come across from the front of the car over the top of the fuel tank or around the side of the fuel tank. And they go into the height corrector there. So 2 of them go to the height corrector. And then there'll be 2 more pipes that come back, or 1 more pipe I should say, that come back again and divvy up into this one here. And this one here I think is the brake. Oh no, that one. So that's the fatter pipe. So because it's got ABS, it's got 4.5mm pipe there. It's not 3.5. So that's the brake pipe back in. So we disconnect that pipe here. So those 2 there stay because they go off to the brakes. But this one is the feed that comes back from the dozer valve, so that needs disconnecting. The 2, basically this is to and from the height corrector, but for argument's sake, they both go to the height corrector, need removing. And then this other one here needs removing, this 4th one here. So we will remove those, and then you've got a join up here for this return off the height corrector. We have to disconnect the height control linkage. And the ABS. So the ABS is actually disconnected already inside the car. The ABS sensors are here. They will need to be pulled out through the body because there ain't no way they're coming off the back of that. They'll be buried in there. And there ain't no way they're coming out. So, yeah. Basically remove those bits and then it's 4 bolts to take the subframe off. You've got your bushes up here, 2 rears, 2 fronts. Well, there's actually just two nuts in each side in the front. Let's spray a bit of protecting stuff in there as well. Yeah, so there's 2 nuts on the front and 1 on the back, and they're all accessible inside because there's no interior in it in the back. So hopefully we'll get some pipes undone and then get this bad boy off. So I've disconnected the height control linkage. That's the one that goes to the lever in the cab. The linkage, this is the rod that goes to the height corrector. This is a bracket that everything pivots on. That is all disconnected. The pipes are disconnected and they are leaking variously. There's an ABS sensor. The other one posts through there, goes under the back seat, won't come out. I'm guessing it's still plugged in, probably. After that, I think it'd just be a case of, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a case of going in and starting to undo bolts to gently see if we can coax it from coming away. And then in doing so, we can double check as it goes up slowly, make sure nothing is dragging, nothing's caught. I mean, there's going to be things like this. This is a breather for the rear cylinders. It vents into the tube of the rear axle, and that's the other side of it there. So it should, in theory, be all self-contained, but you never know what gets wrapped around bits that stay on the body, so you should be a bit careful when you drop it. But yeah, I would say otherwise that's, as far as I can see, that's good to go. let us bring her down to earth. Right. Oh, there's tools in here I've been looking for. Oh, we did buy one of these. We were looking for one of these for the bonnet. I couldn't remember if we got... That's how long it is since I've worked on this car. I couldn't remember if we'd bought one or not. Oh, there's an aerial I found for him as well. Oh, now that's interesting. The rear axle... You'll be the judge of whether it's interesting or not. I'll bring you over and show you. I think this rear axle has been off because that's the rear mounts, and they are normally taped over and sealed, and someone has burst the sealing, which means someone has accessed the bolts, which probably means someone has removed the axle. So there we go. So I believe, so yeah, the ABS is clear. 2 bolts, or 2 nuts I've got to undo. I forgot if there's 17 or 19. And then there's 2 more in here, which I can't even get in there to show you this because I've got the tripod on. So down there, so I've already undersealed the hell out of everything down there because that's where they like to rust. So there's 2 here. To remove both of those. Well, I could remove one of them and half remove the other, and that would let it start dropping a bit. So yeah, I'll start teasing it down. Right, so it's a day later, but because of my excellent editing skills, you won't be able to tell I'm even wearing the same clothes. It's daylight. Yeah, ignore the daylight. It's the next day. Yeah, so I'm dedicating some more time to the tomato. I'm going to get this axle off. You're not a customer's car. You're a luxury. You're not a necessity. Shut up. Oh, good. Leakage. Don't worry about that banging, that's just the ramp. What could go wrong? Come on. Right, that is the suspension fully compressed and the floor fully leaked on, and the axle beam is largely sat on those, on the axle there. So I'm just going to remove this nut. Right, so that's all the front bolts removed, and if I just I have actually slackened all these off already, so I'm slightly organised. So look at the condition of that. Wow. Right, so that is now disconnected from the car. So in theory, if I was to raise the car up on the ramp, the axle should drop slightly. But what will happen is the opposite of what I want to happen, because sod's law. Okay, so it's off, and now we can have a look at the issues that we're faced with. So as you can see, here is the fuel tank, which I refitted not long ago, which you can see why this is all very annoying now, because if the fuel tank was out, you'd have a nice clear run all the way around. But I have gone over everything in front of the fuel tank, so everything behind here is good. Now I've got to do everything behind it. Annoying really, because you do it all in one hit normally, but never mind. So we can see the problem straight away, and that is quite bad actually. This almost looks like a split, doesn't it? Quite often find a hole in this area. Basically this whole section here is going to have to be replaced, which isn't too bad as long as it doesn't extend below this. If it extends behind this, then we start having a worse time, but I don't think it will. Well, I'm hopeful that it won't because of how it looks on the top side. Otherwise, a bit of cleaning up here and there. Some of the original bits of coating are deciding that they've had enough, but not too bad. Nothing too bad at all actually. This spar, you can't see it, I'll do this side first. I noticed, so this spar here it's not too bad. They're normally very susceptible to rot. That one ain't too bad. That welding's not finished yet, don't look at that. Got to do all the undersealing and dressing it off and stuff. It still needs finishing back. Something popping up in, where's the camera lens? In there. Isn't it? I wouldn't have seen that. That's behind there. So I've just found that, and then on this side the spar is worse because I've just noticed it's actually rotten at the bottom, so, and at the top. Great. And the breather's come off. Well, it's all going very well, this, isn't it? So that's meant to go up there, and that is meant to go on there. But yeah, so that's all going to need sorting. I've got a template for these which I made, so I'm going to I'll make my own replacement for that. I think, did Jack change that filler neck? I think he did. Did I take that filler? No, I didn't take that. Or did I take that filler neck? No, I didn't take that. No, I didn't take that filler neck off. Well, this whole tank's going to have to come off to get access to this. Bit rusty on that side of it too, but not too bad. That can be cleaned up. That can be cleaned up. The side here actually looks okay. So like I say, in most places this is in good condition. It's just, oh look, and then you just get something random like that. What I'm going to have to do is just, all of this is going to have to be cleaned out, but I'm going to have to do it on the ramp now that I've got access to it, but I can't wheel it outside, so I'm going to have to do it on the ramp, which is a pain because it's going to make a mess, and it's going to take, this is going to take a long time. I'm going to have to get all of this muck off, make sure there's nothing underlying. It's a horrible job, this. It takes ages to clean yourself up afterwards, but it's just going to have to be done because no point just repairing that and finding out that there's issues hidden elsewhere, because that was quite well hidden. And I'm a little bit worried as to what's hiding behind all the muck. Normally in here, this is where you get problems, behind this plate and then on this rail above this plate, but I think that you can see the underside of this here from inside the cabin when you undo the bolts, and it looks okay. So I think we've just caught it early, whatever this is. That is so strange how that's gone. So I think I can save this bracket. So I'm going to take this mount off that I'd not long fitted. Remove, is it rust under there? Oh, it's just surface. Remove this bracket here, which is just tacked on, or spot welded on. And then I'll have to make a repair piece, or get rid of all the dirt first and then make a repair piece. And hopefully it's just a repair piece for there, and then it can get cleaned up, prepped up, sealed up, and go back together. Can't see anything on here. This all looks a bit sad, the axle. But I can't see anything. I can't see anything on here at the moment which makes me worry. Yeah, I think it's all right. So right, let's move that. Actually, no. First, a cup of tea, Welsh tea. Cup of Welsh tea first, and then yes, see what I can find. Right, so a little bit of time has passed and I have removed, oh, my light. I've removed the axle over there, lifted it with strength of the bear. I didn't show you that because I've got a little bit of modesty, you know. So I'm going to go around it now quickly. I haven't got a huge amount of time left. I'm going to give it a blast with some air, and I'm going to try poking it with a suitable device, something like this screwdriver. Now, I've been criticised in the past for poking cars with screwdrivers because apparently I was poking too hard. If I can poke a hole in a car with a screwdriver, it needs fixing. Or if you're some moron off Facebook Marketplace, it needs fixed. It is very dirty, this, and it's going to make a hell of a mess. Oh God. Oh dear God. I think I'm going to need my mask. So I'm just running over loose dirt and whatnot first, just to also because this will soak up some of the oil that fell on the floor, and then I can know where to go poking. Oh my God, this is gonna take ages. Maybe I'm not gonna do this tonight. So there is half of what was underneath Professor Tomato, and now we're at the halfway stage. This has taken a crazy amount of time to get this far. There's my unfinished plate. I just like welded it on quick, round it back and left it. I threw a bit of primer over it, but that was a while ago. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's got some scabs under there, under here. That will come back and haunt, so we will sort that out as well. Couple of scabs there. Again, that's quite normal actually. I'm just going to get in there, rub it all back, treat it and lash it up in wax. Yeah, it's a bit grubby, but it's in really good condition. Really good condition. As you can see, that's what it normally looks like. And it takes ages to get all that off. And I can't even get all of it off. Like, it's just, yeah, but there's enough. So I can see that bit now. That is the extent of the repairs. I don't think there's any other repairs under it other than that spar there, which is a pain because it means I've got to take that tank out. But other than, which means I've got to undo all this stuff I've not long put on. But yeah, and it's already been off once because that ain't standard. But yeah, no, it's in good condition. So it's really good condition in places. It's just for some reason that bit there's gone. I don't know why exactly. So I'm going to chop all this out and hopefully the lip underneath that this forms part of, it bends underneath and stops about here. Hopefully that's good because I could just rub it down, seam weld along here, bend the metal over, and spot weld it. Not spot weld it, puddle weld it along there, and then that would do it. And then a bit of seam sealer, and that would be an OEM type repair. But if that lip's knackered, then I expect it'll be a seam weld job down both sides. But there we go, halfway point of the cleaning. Oh no, kick my steam cleaner over. That's what I've been using. Been using a steam cleaner. Oh dear, it didn't like that. It didn't like that. Oh, it's run out. Yeah. So I can't show you how it works. No. It's like a steam clean, but it fires very hot water as well. And that is the most effective way of cleaning this that I've found. I mean, a power washer would have done some of it, but not all of it. And then if you had a power washer, I'd have to have the wheels on the axle. Wouldn't have had the access I've got now. So yeah, get in there.